Hello, Brother Monroe here. Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts and to another custom battle, courtesy of Britain War Magazine and their The Big Debrief event in the Royal Armouries, Leeds, on the 6th of June. So only a few weeks away now. You can still buy tickets. They are £99 each. And you can hear from lots of very interesting speakers. I was invited, and I really wish I could go, but sadly, health conditions prevent this. So instead, I am doing these little promotional videos because, hey, you might want to go. You might want to hear Treefrog. Go and meet Treefrog live and in person. Dr. Alexander Clark, Jonathan Ferguson, Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries, and many, many more. Details, are on screen now, if I can remember how to edit videos properly, and there is a link down in the video description. So what are we looking at today? Well, this is based on an article by John Ash, who is actually the editor of Britain at War magazine, and this is looking at what would happen if in March of 1915 the Ottoman Empire and their allies, the German Empire, during the Gallipoli campaign, what would happen if the German squadron led an attack on the British row force in a theoretical Battle of Marmara? What would happen? Well, the article goes into a lot of depth about the forces on each side, but in terms of kind of modern up-to-date ships, the British had 2, and so did the Germans. However, the British, their battle cruiser had, unfortunately, this is the inflexible, unfortunately hit a mine at the date that this battle would likely have taken place, and therefore was not in the battle. So it's just HMS Queen Elizabeth, which is a very fast, modern, powerful battleship of the time, versus 2 German ships, the Goeben and the Breslau, which would been transferred over to Ottoman control, but they still had their German crews. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and do my best attempt at a historical build of both ships, all 3 ships at both sides, and then I'm going to try and fight out the battle between those kind of 3 key ships, because I think that would be the crux of any battle. Obviously, the Germans would try and just avoid Queen Elizabeth if they could, but I think it's a lot. That's much harder to do in sea power, in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. I might be able to do it in sea power, but no one has gone to the extent of introducing World War I era stuff into sea power yet. So this is, I think, the best setup. So let's get into the builds. Right, let's start off with the HMS Queen Elizabeth. I'm going with the Dreadnought 4 hull, I think. It is too long, though. Maybe I should go with the Dreadnought 5 instead. Yes, that might be better. So that length is quite tricky to get right, because the actual Queen Elizabeth was 640 or so feet long. So really we want to be in this size. Beam was 90 foot 7 inches. It's doable on minimum beam. And draft was 33. So a slight increase on that. Oops, a daisy. 33 dead. Playing Slider Hero again. No. Anyway, close enough. Can I get her any? Yeah, I might have to go longer, because at 26,000 tons. That's significantly under. I'll see where I get to. We'll try and keep the length the same. So we have to worry about. Where's the picture? There we go. Main tower. So we're not using the modern stuff that she had access to. I think. Yeah, probably an advanced tower 2. No, 4. I think the 4 works because she had a pair of funnels, and one of them was very close to the superstructure. So I think that one will work. Secondary tower again. We don't want the advanced ones. Probably the 4 again. And then the funnel was the same height, so it was about that. Something like that, although they were the same height. Can I get one that's the same height? Rarely in dreadnoughts. No. Which one's this? The 3. We'll just go with 2 3s. It's not quite right. Maybe I can do it with a bigger secondary tower. Let's try the 8. That looks a bit better. How about the 9? Close enough. Okay. And yeah, length I think is going to have to go up because she had 8 15-inch guns. The forward one was right about there. And then she used this type of arrangement. And I don't think I have enough space to fit the turret in there. So we're going to make a decision. We're going to go for her actual deep load displacement, 33790. That takes me to the maximum. Well, that's pretty close to her standard displacement. Let's go 32590 then. Because then at least I don't feel that I'm being ridiculous with it. Right. Can move these like so. Because her funnels were slightly spaced. And then we can grab a standard barbette, put that up there, and then that fits in nicely right there. Now, are there any UAD things that I can do to improve the design? So you can move the forward turret to here. That does fit with how she was laid out. Because they were a little bit more forward. Yeah, and I think having this sort of here, and then this just a smidge back. Lovely. Okay. Yeah, that looks about right. There was a bit of a gap between. So really, I should have it more like this in terms of the spacing, but then the funnels look really odd. Unless I can get a short funnel. Yeah, it's not really going to work. So I think to get the funnels looking right, we're closer in appearance if we go for that. But yeah, that's why the silhouette isn't going to look exactly right. And then she had 16 single 6-inch guns. These are casemates. This hull does not allow me to fit 6-inch casemates. That's a bit of an issue. What does allow me to fit? 7s. Why not 6s? That's one to take up with rocket. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aside. So we're down. It should be 8 aside for Queen Elizabeth. But close enough. Can I? Yeah, I can't reduce the size on them. So the fact that there's 10 7-inch guns, it's going to have to do because of the restrictions on the hull. And then they had 2 single 3-inch guns. There you go. And 4 21-inch torpedo tubes. Yeah, I can fit that. I don't know if they were on the 4 points of the ship like that, but I'll try my best. Okay, she did run on oil, I believe, and she did have a gear turbine set, I think. Yes. And they will have been probably induced boilers. We'll go for an auxiliary engine, although I don't know if she actually had one. Steering, leave that. 2, as she was a pretty new ship. We'll throw on the mod cons. I think many bulkheads is quite fair. Range was nowhere near that good. It's probably because I put big funnels on. Oh, and speed 24 knots. There's a bit of an argument about which ships could do what. I think as a class, as a whole, they could do 23. But in theory, Queen Elizabeth should be able to do 24. In this configuration, anyway. I think at this time, the British were either using soft cap or base fuse. I think it's soft cap in World War One. We would probably be using Dunite and Quadrite 2. Enhanced reload, electronic turret, radio telegraph, and a rangefinder. Okay, armour. She had a 13-inch main belt and a 3-inch deck, thinning to 1. Barbettes were 10, and the gun turrets were 13. And I'm assuming like 4 on the top. Conning towers 13. I'm assuming there was some splinter proofing everywhere else. Inner belts, probably not a lot. Something like that. And maybe a 1-inch inner deck. Casemates, I think would have probably just the splinter proofing that the rest of the ship had. Right, I think that's all correct. I will double check the lengths of the guns and other annoying things like that off camera, but we should have standard quarters and a regular crew. I think that's fair enough. I haven't used all of her displacement. We're slightly under, and we're slightly too long. Mind you, maybe I could make her the right size then. Because if I shorten her, there we go, might mean that the superstructure looks a bit closer to reality. It's going to not be as good a ship sectionally, but it's not... Actually, it's not bad. Yeah, we'll go for that. That looks a little bit more like, just looking at it, the displacement's nowhere close. She is still too long, but that, if you squint, that looks like HMS Queen Elizabeth in her World War One configuration, or close enough for government work. Obviously, the secondary battery is completely wrong, but I will attempt to fudge that because, yeah, we have slightly fewer, slightly heavier. Right, let's move on to the Germans. Right, I did a little bit of tweaking to the Queen Elizabeth design, but I'll go through the major... Oh, it's just looks mostly, but I also changed the 15-inch to 42 calibers long so that they are, in fact, correct. So, now for the SMS Goeben, or this the name the Ottomans gave her. A Moltke class, which means I think this hull matches the Moltke class the best. We want around about 612 long. We need 96 foot beam, so that needs to go up, probably to full. Yep, so we're slightly under on the beam, and draft was about 30 feet, so that needs to go up as well to full. Their full load displacement was 25,400. So we're going to be going minimum displacement length 643. That's as close as we're going to get. Close enough. Now, she had a fairly minimal forward tower, probably this one. Yeah, this one looks about right. And she had one 11-inch gun, twin, forward, probably about there. Now, these were 50 caliber. And the forward gun, it is quite far forward, actually. I'll leave it there. That's probably where I would put it if I was designing this ship in the game. We then had a funnel, probably the gross funnel. Looks about right. One right there, and then the next one was kind of midships. But I might need to make the ship bigger and longer to actually make it work, because this ship uses en echelon turrets, and then it has a pair at the back. So we've got one there and one there. And then we have the secondary tower, which is probably, yeah, that one looks about right. Yes, because this funnel should be kind of in the middle here. I'm gonna have to make the ship bigger and longer. Goeben's getting an upgrade. There we go. I'll try and keep the displacement as low as I can. So forward turret should be about there. That one about there. This right up against the back. And this one about there. This one here. Move this back. Maybe a smaller funnel. What's your smallest funnel? Possibly the... No, they're even bigger. They're all huge. Ah, yeah, that one. That one could work. Because you need it in the middle. Because there's a turret here and there's a turret here. So, let us turn off mirroring and get a side 11. So, one turret was here. And the other turret was here. Actually, that works quite well. Okay. Cool, that was a lot easier than I was expecting. Right, let's turn the symmetry back on. Secondary guns were 5.9s. And 12 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they were all forward, so she didn't have these two. And 12. Where are all those 3-inch guns? No idea. That'll do. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, slightly under on the 3-inch guns. So we should have 3.5s. Oops. 3.5s and 5.9s. There we go. Right. I think standard bulkheads, they were battle cruisers. Their speed was 25.5 knots, so slightly faster than Queen Elizabeth. I'm going to give them a seasoned crew because these ships had successfully evaded the British attempts to kind of engage them. Then in terms of range, yeah, minimal. I think they would be on semi-oil at this point. Let me check. I'll check that off camera. They, I think, had turbines. Yes, they did. And I don't think they were geared, though. German armor was pretty good at this point. Give them all the mod cons. Very similar setup, except I think the Germans would be using base fuse, probably dunite, but they would be using tube powder. And electrohydro, they probably had all the mod cons. And Germans tend to go for stereoscopic rangefinder, so I'll go with a stereoscopic rangefinder. Now, armor belt was 11 to 3. Give them 3 on the superstructure. Deck was 3 inch to 1 inch. I don't know what they had on the tower. The guns were 9.1 inch. Oops, 9.1, not 9.7. I'm assuming they had probably about 4 on the top. Inner layers, let's give them slightly thicker inner layer on the belt. Give them the setup, and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. I'll see if I can find details on the Queen Elizabeth's extended armor as well, because I'm sure I've read somewhere that what that number actually was. But there we go, the Goeben. Yeah, not bad at all. Squint and it looks pretty close. That's about as close as you can get in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Right, let's move on to the last ship, Breslau. Right. Breslau, or the Midili, as she was called in Ottoman service, was a Magdeburg class cruiser. Oh, and I did find the reference for the armor, extended belt armor on the Queen Elizabeth. It was 4 inch, which makes sense. So we're going to go standard. We're going to go seasoned as well. Yeah. Okay. So length was 455 feet. Okay. So we want quite. Yep. We want this size. Beam was 44 feet 3 inch. So let's bring that down. Yeah, it was slightly up. Again, it's not always possible to beat the hulls in the game into the right shape and draft reduced. But not enough. That means our displacement is going to be too high by lots. Just don't pay attention to that. It's fine. So this was a quad stacking funnel. Wow. Okay, and she was armed with 4 point. Oh, game, what have you done? Let me just fix that. Right. Okay, so she had 12 4.1 inch guns, which is the smallest gun you can get on a light cruiser in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. And they were. Oh, okay, so there's 2 up front. Kind of here. Yeah, like that. So there's 2 there. Then we have the main tower, which is a very small one. So I think we'll go with this one. Probably a bit big, if anything. And then she had 4, count them, 4 funnels. They were slightly raked back. These ones are straight up and down, but otherwise close enough. Lovely. And she had some guns down the side as well. I think there was a pair. Kind of here. How many did you have total again? 12. So, one there. Yeah, there were a couple more midships. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a 5 just before the secondary tower. Which I think might just be this one. Looking at her profile. And then she had a final pair aft. Like so. She carried 120 mines. Maybe... No, she won't have carried them in casemates. Which we're not going to simulate. And she had 2 20-inch torpedo tubes. I'm assuming they were underwaters, as that was common at the time. Technically, they're 19.7 inches, but I'll give them the 0.3 inch. Now, were these still running on coal? They might have been. Not sure. Not sure. 16 coal-fired. There we go. Coal-fired. Thank you. And they were later used to spray fuel oil. So that means they're on semi-oil. Turbine? Water tube boilers. Funnels. Well, they have to have turbines, so. You don't get a choice, Germany. Go for the same rough setup that the other German ship has. The stereo rangefinder, a hydrophone, and radio. Right, armour was 2.4 inch maximum main built. Belt and deck were both 2.4. And this was 3.9. I'm going to just give it 2.4 everywhere in that case. I'm not going to try and be fancy with it. And some minimal inner layers. Turret armour. I'm not sure the turrets were protected. No, I'm not sure they were. Well, I'll give them a little bit because they do have an armour plate, the model, which isn't very thick. Something like 0.2. Just so they don't immediately get shot off. And I think that's about it. Oh, speed. They could do 27.5 knots, which is very respectable. Now, I'm way over on displacement, but that shouldn't matter too much for replicating the results. And you've taken away the name. This was the SMS Breslau. Thank you. Okay, so I think I might try and play this both sides. So I'm going to start by playing as the British. I'll just load the game into the battle, and let's have a go. Welcome. Now, for obvious reasons, this is not going to be a proper simulation of the battle that these ships would have fought in the very close confines of the Dardanelles Strait. I think... Oh, we're also headed the wrong way, which is hilarious. So we'll turn around. It shouldn't matter too much. Ultimate Admiral just assumes all battles are taking place in, the open ocean. But yes, because obviously there's a lot more room for manoeuvre here. I don't think it benefits one side or the other. So you might be asking yourself, well, what about all the screens? What about all the torpedo boats? So the likely outcome here would be that the British screens would take care of the Ottoman screens, most likely. And, oh my word, never mind. Yikes, a main built pen and flash fire. Oh no. Queen Elizabeth just taking Moltke out. Not Moltke, sorry, the Goeben. Oh dear. She's still able to fire. Got one hit. Wow, okay. Obviously, I have not modelled the somewhat error-prone British shells. This would be if the British had shells that worked. That's something they found wouldn't really sort out until after Jutland. They didn't know about it. Right, see how these soft-capped, high-explosive shells do. They're doing okay. I think they'll probably want to use some AP shells. But I'm going to target the battle cruiser with the main guns, and I'm going to leave the secondary guns to shoot at the cruiser. Probably what they would have done in real life. As whilst the Goeben has lost her forward turret, her en echelon and rear turrets still work. Also killed the Captain, which is interesting. No, you're spreading your shots again. Keep the 7s on the cruiser, please. Hit to a turret. Didn't take it out, though. Queen Elizabeth has taken relatively little damage here. We're at 10 and a bit kilometres, so about 10,000 yards, which does seem about right for this era of naval combat. Aside from that one big hit early on, not a lot since. Oh, there we go, though. That is a big hit. Big hit. Right below the main tower. A little bit of damage hitting, I think that was B turret they just hit. Oh, the cruiser's closing in. Better make sure that I'm not accidentally torpedoed. That would be a whoopsie doodle. Let's fire a torpedo at them. Yeah, some damage to the machinery. Right, I think we need to deal with this upstart. We'll get a torpedo hit. That would be hilarious. We might, you know. Oh, it was a dud. Well, that's typical. Oh. Took an 11-inch hit. It's damaged the steering gear. I think they have fixed that, though. Yeah, that finished her off. Goodbye, Breslau. And this is what the Germans and Ottomans were really worried about, because this battle never actually took place, was that the Queen Elizabeth would be just a nightmare for them to deal with. And they were hoping that they could kind of skirt round the British and attack some of the more vulnerable ships in the back. But yeah, Queen Elizabeth gets involved. It's not a fun time. A few more serious hits. Some flooding now. Oh, they're going to hit back. Just forward of a turret. Range down to... what are we at now? 6,000 yards. And Queen Elizabeth has taken damage. She's got flooding forward and aft. Oh, that's another turret out. This one. Starboard turret. Nothing serious there. Oh, hit the secondary tower. Could try and cross their T. I've got a bit of a list going on, which is not ideal. Ah, my torpedo launcher. Oh, yeah, that's a nasty hit. Get some men with buckets. Yeah, they are pumping some of the water out. Nothing. I'm not sure they can return fire anymore. So I'm going, well, not with the main guns anyway. So I'm going to try and cut across their bows. Missed. Just an overpen. Nothing. See, now I'm getting an angle warning. Torpedo away. Missed with the torpedo. Yeah, we're pretty close now. 5,000 yards. And I think we have crippled the Goeben. Could probably finish her off with a torpedo boat or something like that. Easily enough. But that's not what we're here to do. Bit of flooding. Oh, there we go. That hit is going to do her in. Oh dear. So, didn't go particularly well for the Germans / Ottomans there. Let's see if I can flip it around and do any better. Right, welcome back. I'm going to attempt to have a go at this. Although, Queen Elizabeth's in red, it's a little bit scary. I think my best bet is to keep Breslau back a bit. Oops. Ignore that. Because what I'm hoping is I can get a little bit of damage on the Queen Elizabeth, and then I can jump in and torpedo her. So I'll sail on a converging course. Yeah, she's got a range advantage as well, of course. Although she is closing, so we should be able to open up soon. Yeah, we are firing. Good. Yeah. Yeah, those 15-inch shells are scary when you're on the other side of them. Okay, immediately took out the captain on the on the bridge. Okay, sure. Got a hit at least. Yeah. We're out of secondary range still. Okay. Okay. We're surviving. Mostly nothing at the moment. Accuracy is... Ow! That hurt. Big hit. Just after the forward superstructure. Right through the main belt. Ouch. Look at all that fire, flooding, damaged sections. Yikes. Right, well, we're going to have to make our run now, I think. All head flank. If nothing else, we will take a little bit of pressure off the battlecruiser. See we're coming? Smoke. They are in torpedo range. It's just... yeah. Want to actually make sure I hit the thing. See, it's starting to turn away. Take a couple of hits from the secondaries there. Turn. Ooh. Don't do that. Fired her own torpedo at me. Which I think is going to miss both ships. Oh my goodness, she's in bad shape. No, she's seen it and is moving away. And we're slowed down because of the water we've taken on board. I might as well turn, fire, and run away. Unfortunate. And dump the torpedo. No. Right, okay. I see how it is. She's taken any damage. A couple of hits. Yeah, she just saw what that cruiser was doing. That is probably where this battle would be taking place would come into account, because she's got plenty of sea room to do that in this battle, whereas in reality she would not. I mean, as a distraction it has worked, but yeah, poor old Breslau running away. Ah, this is not cross-deck firing. Maybe got that slightly wrong then. Although cross-deck firing with on-echelon guns is quite tricky anyway. Here she comes. Yeah. Oh, shoot the torpedo. Hard starboard. All stop. Thank you. Yeah, a hit. A little bit of flooding, a little bit of damage to his steering gear. That's something at least. Getting a few hits off. Took out a secondary gun. Yeah. More flooding. Not sure it's in Queen Elizabeth's interest to close this much. She's been a tad aggressive, because the advantage she has in protection and guns are not going to work at this range. Ow! It's like they're trying to board me. Ooh, got some damage in there. Why are they not firing? Oh, it looks like they've had an electrical failure. Or something. Turrets aren't moving. quite a list going on as well. Not sure why our turrets are stuck though. That is odd. Although, given the damage the ship has taken, maybe it is as simple as failure the turret steering gear. Might win this, you know. Another hit. Oh, I think we might have it. Would you look at that? If they play really stupidly, it is in theory possible to win. But if handled properly, no, I don't think so. Well, very interesting, nonetheless. If you are interested in going to the big debrief, once again, link down in the description below. Tickets are £50, I believe, for the day. Sounds like a good time to me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Bye for now.